So our final Edward, our final king, is Edward III, who ruled from 1327 to 1377. So Edward III is just 15 years of age when he becomes king. Edward II was murdered, and I'm not going into the details of Edward II's murder, but he was murdered in 1327, which brings the 15-year-old Edward III to the throne. So Edward III was to prove to be an incredibly dynamic king. He arrived in York for the first time in 1327 to take on the next stage of the Scottish wars and the relationship with Scotland. He gets married in York in 1328. He's just 16 years of age when he gets married. He's married in York Minster to Philippa of Hainault, who's French. Their first son dies and is buried in York Minster. So again, there are those ties with York. And because Scotland takes on such importance for Edward III, he, like his grandfather, Edward I, moves government offices to York. So Chancery, the courts, they meet in York Abbey, the Museum Gardens today. The Exchequer, which deals with finance, meets in the grounds of York Castle, which is the area surrounding Clifford's Tower. So with so much gold, so much bullion in York, so much treasure in York, York becomes a hotbed for robbers who basically line the main roads in and out of York. So it does have its drawbacks with it. York doesn't remain in this position as well. What eventually happens is the wars with Scotland, which are reignited by Edward III, come to an end, and Edward III decides that he's going to focus again instead on France. And what we see with Edward III is the start of what become the 100 Years' War against the French. So York's influence as a result of this declines. The government offices move from York back to London in 1338, and York begins its decline. In total, though, between 1298 and 1335, Parliament met 15 times in York. Parliament just met when the king called it in this period. It didn't meet all the time like it does today. After 1335, it's never met in York since. Although there were rumours that started to emerge last year that if the House of Lords were reformed, then maybe the House of Lords would meet in York. Nothing came of it.